Okay, so today's lesson is about editing. So we're going to be covering standard 7.2.W.4. And what does that say? Well, that says that you will edit and revise multiple drafts for organization, transitions to improve coherence and meaning, and useful using a consistent point of view. So, write without fear, edit without mercy. It's always good to go back and look at anything that you write, guys. Anything. So what is editing? Editing is the process of looking for and correcting surface mistakes. Those are things like spelling, grammar, usage. We talked a little bit about revising already, so you should know what that one is. So we're going to learn how to search for and correct surface mistakes in your writing. Editing is an important last step in the writing process. Personally, I would edit. There's so much editing software nowadays that you guys can use them. I mean, you can't use them on a test, but if you're writing a paper, use that editing software, Grammarly.com. Use spell check on Google Docs or Word. Always use that because that's going to help you and it'll show you your mistakes and you can learn from those mistakes. So why do we edit? Because if you make careless mistakes, there's going to be lack of clarity in your paper. Readers are going to have a hard time understanding your purpose and your meaning, and then mistakes can distract the reader so they aren't paying attention to the writing. I know myself, if I'm reading something somewhere, like a news article or anything, and there's a lot of mistakes in there, like grammar, spelling, punctuation, personally, it drives me insane, and I cannot focus on what they're even writing about. All I want to focus on is that mistake. So always make sure you go back and check for mistakes. It also gives you less credibility. So if you're trying to write something, if you're writing a paper for college, or if you're writing a news article or a poem, or writing anything, you're not going to get as much credibility if there's a lot of mistakes on there. So would you believe a piece of writing that has a lot of mistakes? Are you going to read something on the internet and there's a lot of typos on there? Look at that sentence below. I know I wouldn't. Like, would that not be hard for you to read? So this is a good point as to why you need to make sure you edit. Here is a video. I will send you guys this video in the link. All right, so self-editing checklist. Anytime you are editing something, this is a good way to go about. You want to check your spelling, okay? You want to check punctuation. You want to check capitalization, grammar, and also your formatting. So make sure if it's, whatever you're trying to write, it's in the proper format. You're going to write a letter differently than you're going to write an essay or a news article or anything of that nature, okay? If you're talking about spelling, any words in question, look up in a dictionary, look up online, make sure you're spelling it correctly. If there's punctuation at the end of every sentence, make sure you're using the correct punctuation. Make sure there are commas, colons, semicolons, anywhere that's appropriate. A comma separates each item on a list. So if you're listing items, you better put a comma in there. Periods are always after the end. Things like that. Make sure if you're talking about the title of a book, a movie, a poem, a newspaper, anything like that, it either needs to be underlined, italicized, or placed in quotation marks. Make sure every sentence begins with a capital letter. That is something I see most commonly. Don't treat it like you're treating a text message. Treat it like a proper paper. All proper nouns are appropriately capitalized. What is a proper noun? A proper noun is something that is the name of a person, a place, an object. Examples, you're talking about London. You're talking about a person, Brad. You're going to use that proper noun to capitalize the name. Okay? If you are writing the name of a book, you want it to be capitalized and italicized. You always want to make sure appropriate words in titles are capitalized. Anytime you're writing a title, it should be capitalized, like the title of the book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Notice everything except for of, a, and, all of those don't get capitalized, but any other word should be capitalized. Grammar, verbs and subjects agree throughout the entire composition. So things like they were, he was. Make sure it's in proper tense. It's in present tense, past tense, whatever. Make sure it's in the proper tense. All sentences are complete sentences. Don't make sure you have a noun and a verb and all of that when you're writing a sentence. If you don't write a complete sentence, that reader's not going to understand what you're trying to say. And then formatting, again, make sure you're using the proper format for whatever it is that you're writing. Spelling, learn the rules, but know there are sometimes exceptions. A big common one that I see, and I even still have a hard time with this one as well, is I before E, okay? I before E except after C, okay? Always remember I before E. There are exceptions. If you look at these words, leisure, ate, overweight, forfeit, there, sovereign, conceits, okay? Learn your rules, but there's also know that there are exceptions to that. So here's an example. I want you to just pause this, read it, see if you know what the answer is, okay? Punctuation. Learn the rules. Don't do this to grandma. Let's eat grandma. Where should it actually be punctuated? Punctuated, sorry. You want to put it between eat and grandma because if you don't have it, that's where that little pause should be. Because if there's no comma there, it's going to be let's eat grandma. What? That sounds like you're going to go eat grandma for dinner. No, you're going to say let's eat grandma. That's like you're talking to someone. So make sure you always put your proper punctuation. Here are some good examples. Period. Use a period at the end of a sentence, a declarative sentence, and in abbreviations. Question mark. Use a question mark after an interrogative sentence. Quotation marks are for direct quotations, apostrophes. You're going to use that apostrophe in contractions and to indicate possession, okay? Comma. Use a comma to separate items in a series to set off in a positive or before the conjunction in a compound sentence. Hyphen. Use that to join words serving as a single adjective. You can put it before a noun in number words to divide words into syllables. Exclamation point. That's to show strong emotion or give a command. Use a colon to introduce a list and before a final clause that explains something in the sentence. Parentheses. Use parentheses around extra non-essential information that is too important to omit. And then a semicolon, you want to use that to join two independent clauses that are not connected with a coordinate conjunction. So look at this and see if you can find the answer. I hope that you picked the correct one. If you picked A, then it is correct. It should be changed to with that apostrophe because that means that you're trying to say it is, but you're changing it to its. Capitalizations. Make sure you are capitalizing proper nouns and improper nouns, okay? Here's your capitalization rules. Always remember your capitalization rules. Here you go. Which one of these should be made? Which change should be made? City? No, you don't want to capitalize city. What about citizens? Do you think we should capitalize citizens? No. Mayor. Should mayor? Yes, mayor. Unless if you're giving him a name like Mayor Bellwether, that should just be a lowercase m on that. It's not giving someone a title. All right, so make sure you're using a good word choice. Homophones are words that sound alike, but they have different meanings. So 10 reasons why English is weird. The bandage was wound around the wound. Weird. They're both spelled the same, but you know that it's different. Um, Also, the farm was used to produce produce, so that could be rather confusing. So as you see, there's a list there of different types. There are words that sound alike, but they do have different meanings. So here's your word choice. If you look in here, when you are writing something for my class, like that's so hard to read, is it not? There are so many wrong words. Okay, make sure you're using the proper word. This should be W-H-E-N. This should be the other form of writing for, okay? Make sure you're using the right words, okay? Here's another question. Take a minute, see if you know it. Grammar. Yes, there are a lot, but you already know most of them. Okay, there's a lot of rules of grammar. Okay, always make sure you're using proper grammar. Here's another question. Wants to know what change, if any, should be made to sentence 2. Change your to her. I think that would be the right answer. Quit to quitted, no. Elementary to that's not right spelling either. So your to her, obviously we're talking about her. So we want to use her. All right, so this is a Kahoot. Feel free to play it if you want. That is pretty much it. So I want you to now go do your IXL practice words and then or not IXL practice words, your IXL practice questions. And that way I can give you a grade. I hope this helps and makes sense to you, and I hope you have a great day.